So, first of all, I'd like to start with how it all began. I chose this photo. This is a photo from Scotland, from Isle of Skye, and this is a road less traveled, let's say, not so known. There's this road is not on the map, so you can't really follow any map or GPS navigations. And why I chose this is because I feel that.
Yes, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but your screen isn't changing, like your slide hasn't changed.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't see the photo there?
No,
Oh.
I'm so sorry.
But I do see it changing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see anything now if I change it like to small pictures?
No. So maybe if you stop sharing and try sharing it again, that might
Yeah,
work. Or
I'll
just
do it.
yeah.
Can you see it now?
We can still see the first slide. Try changing.
Okay. That's actually weird because wait, I'll do it. Can you see anything now?
No, your screen isn't shared right now.
Okay, good. That's the first good step, and then I'll share it again. Can you see it now?
No, unfortunately, it's not.
Because it says that I'm screen sharing.
Yeah, but we can see your screen, but we can only see the first slide. Are you still on the first slide?
Yeah. And now if I move to the second slide, do you see? No, still the first slide.
Yeah.
So maybe it's best if you share the presentation.
Oh, now it went to the third one. My path from medical.
Okay, so it's just slower than it should be.
Maybe, yeah.
So you see the picture now.
Yes, I can see the path from med school to pharma now.
Okay, good. Okay, so as I said, this is a photo from Scotland. Now you see it finally. It's a photo from the Isle of Skye. It's a road in not so known part of the island, and I chose it because I believe that it shows alternative careers in medicine are still not so known. They're not something that many people would go, and I feel that if you choose the alternative career at the beginning, you're kind of alone because there's not many people who could share their experience or who could help you. And usually what happened to me was that I was basically the only one who decided to go straight after med school some other way. So that's why I chose this, but it's also a very beautiful picture, which I want to, that's why I wanted to also show that it's something that is very exciting. And I am happy I chose this path. It's not for everyone, but I believe that there are definitely many people who are the same as me, and who will also find the alternative career very exciting, very challenging, and I think very rewarding mentally in the end. Just checking, do you see the change of the slide to the white one? Okay, there's someone saying that I shouldn't present and just use the cursor because you don't see it, right? The changed slide. No. I don't hear you, Avril, but
no, it's not changing.
Okay, so I'll do it just this way. because if it's not changing, it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just if you don't mind, I will do just this way, because the Zoom's not changing the slides.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So first, what's my education? How I started? I actually studied 2 schools at the beginning in 2014. I studied general medicine at the second faculty of medicine in Motol, but because I felt that just medicine might not be enough, but medicine is very let's say theoretical at the beginning, and there's not many psychological courses, or not that much focus on the communication with the patient. That's why I chose to add addictology as well, which is exactly what this course gave me. It's the undergrad course at the first faculty of medicine, and of course, it takes the addictology is a course that teaches you how to take care of addicted patients, and how to say if someone is addicted, or if they are starting to have the problems. But what was more important for me was that there was at the course there were many practical courses focused on the communication with the client, communication with the patient. There were courses focused on psychotherapy, on sociology, and that's why I felt that it's very good complement to medicine, because it's as you might recall, in the first years of medicine we don't really have that much contact with patients. We are not taught that much how to communicate with patients, how to tell them bad news, for example, or how to phrase the words so that they're more effective, more motivational. And I felt that even during the clinical years, I did not get that, because there's so much knowledge, so much information that we need to absorb, that there's not that much time to really focus on the work with patients. So that's why I actually chose to combine these fields. I love medicine. I love the science. I love that medicine is one of the fields that are advancing so much, and there's still so much new to learn, and you will never be able to learn everything. So I love that about medicine. But as I said, at that time I felt there's a bit something missing, so that's why I studied both courses at once, and it actually was very good, because it gave me an opportunity to continue with addictology after I finished the undergrad study, and make a bit money during my last years of medicine. I actually started my own addiction counseling, private addiction counseling, to help patients who are who don't really find the good place in the current addictology services, because the addiction services in Czech Republic are mostly social services or healthcare services. So of course the times that they are open are very restricted, and sometimes there are some requirements. For example, they need to a client needs to provide at least their name, or they need to come with a health insurance card or something like that. So that's why I created a private addiction counseling, just to actually provide to these clients a new platform where they can share their problems with addiction or their struggles, without having to be somewhere in the system, let's say, or without having to say their name or provide their social security number and any other details. So that offers a chance for people, for example, who are in a field where this could actually affect their position. It provides them a chance to talk in a safe place about their addiction. And this, why I'm talking about this, is that it gave me the basis to continue to actually form my pathway, because as I had this addiction counseling, I was kind of already already in the working field or already finding my way when I was in the last years of med school, when I was in the 4th, 5th, and 6th year, I was already working with clients. So I had this kind of satisfaction, and I had a way to actually think about what kind of work with patients suits me best. Beside that, during the last 3 years of med school, I also started doing research. What gave me this opportunity was a cooperation with Dr. Brosch, Dr. Jan Brosch from Second Faculty of Medicine from internal department. And I remember that when we were in the 4th year, he actually gave us an opportunity and he said, okay, this is an interesting patient. Let's write an article about this. And we kind of talked, and we found out that there are not that many knowledge or that many awareness among doctors about addictions, and that addictologists usually focus on just other addictologists, but there are not that many addictologists who would share the info with medical doctors. So we kind of found this overlap, and we started doing research in this area. Dr. Brosch is a diabetologist, so we found the overlap, and we are still working, we are still doing some research together, and we are trying to find new topics that connect diabetes and addiction. And that's he's the person that actually brought me to study diabetes more. And that will be important because now I actually work in the diabetology field in the pharma business. The research is very important because it gave me the background to work in the field where I work now, because without that it would be much more difficult to get into the pharma, and it would also be much more difficult to now cooperate with some doctors during my everyday. So this was very I'm actually very, very grateful for that I had this chance. And as I said, we started during my clinical years on doing the research, and we are still working on many more articles. And I think the cooperation is something that still leaves me a bit in the in medicine, because it still brings me back to my clinical years and gives me new perspective on things. So I can only recommend, if you have an option, to actually start cooperating on some research or on some publications already during med school. It's a great way to do that. During the clinical years, of course, I also wanted to know if clinical medicine is the right path for me, because it's not something that's easily decided. I think that when I decided after med school that I won't go the traditional pathway, it was something that was I don't want to say frowned upon, but I think that my colleagues or my classmates did not always fully understand why would anyone choose a different pathway. That's why I'm saying it is that I believe that everyone, before they decide they want to go another way, they should first try to do some clinical work and know if actually clinical medicine is the right fit for them or not, and try to do as many internships as possible. So I went to Glasgow. I went for an internship in Glasgow. Then I went to Africa for a humanitarian mission where we took care of people in Malawi. I really enjoyed that. But during the time, I already thought that maybe it might not be the best path for me, because I could not imagine that I would do that my whole life. I really enjoyed it when I did it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But when I imagined that for many years, many years to come, I would just sit at hospital and do the hospital work or the outpatient work, I felt that it's not the good fit for me. What I was missing was a bit of interspecialty, or maybe cooperation with other teams, not just medical teams. And the truth is that if you're in clinical medicine, even though you cooperate with fields like not doctors, it's still the healthcare. It's still just the kind of medical cooperation. But what I was missing was really the cooperation with some, for example, with overlap to legal sciences, or to economy and stuff like that. That's why I also enjoyed having my own addiction counseling, because it's something that you do for your own. You kind of need to decide on the prices. You need to decide if it's something that will be profitable or not. If you're if you do the clinical medicine, this is not something that you would think about for, let's say, the first 10 years. It's a long process of after medical school before you actually get some really let's say autonomy, or the ability to do or to create something for yourself. Clinical years after med school are very organized. Everyone, there's this way what needs to be done, and you know what you need to complete for the exams to be completed, so that you can get your specialty, your attestation. And I realized that this is not exactly what I'd like to do. That I'd like to do a bit something with something a bit outside medicine, but still connecting to medicine. That's why I actually started considering alternative career, and it was difficult at first to actually find what career choices were there. There's not really a website where you can go to and find out everything. So it was first many months I just started exploring what are the options, and how to get into the pharma or to some alternative career. I was considering the alternative career also because I felt that when I was doing the clinical years, I felt that it was kind of routine. I'm not saying that the taking care of patients is something that's boring or it's always the same, but still I felt that there was this routine of every day being the same, because you come to work and when you think of it, you either are in the outpatient office and you have one patient after another one, and if you're at hospital at the wards, you come, you check on the patients, you write the reports, and then again and again. So this is the kind of routine that I'm talking about, and that's what I was missing in the clinical years. I was looking for something where I could find cooperation with as I said, with some, for example, legal representatives, or some sales teams, or some other teams, cooperation outside just the medical work. So I decided after doing some research that CRO is my best option. It's very difficult to actually break into the first role outside of clinical medicine, because everyone expects young doctors to go the way of doing the rounds and going to hospitals. And if you've just finished med school, you actually have not much experience to build upon, so nothing much to show. outside the medicine. And the truth is that if you decide to do alternative career, everyone expects you to have a lot of experience. Most of the roles in the pharma world are only for people who are experienced in the field, who have something more than just the school to offer. I did some research. I asked a few friends who are not medics, but who worked in the pharma world, and I found out that one of the ways to get to the alternative career is through a small local company. And I found a small Czech contract research organization. CRO is an organization that supports pharmaceutical companies when they do clinical trials, because clinical trials require many administrative work, but also many people work. Let's say you need to have a lot of heads doing the work, prepare protocols, coordinate the labs, the central labs, local labs. There are many things that need to be taken care of, and pharmaceutical companies often contract these services to some other organization, and that's called the CRO, contract research organization. I really liked it because I felt that I will have the insight into how the clinical trials work, because clinical trials is exactly what I always imagine. That's the core where the advances of medicine happen. The truth is that when I started, I also did not have the exact idea of what CRO or what the work would entitle. You see here a few pictures that I chose. The truth is that the pictures on the right, the lab pictures with the microscope and the pipettes and stuff like that, that's not something that you do in a CRO. That's something that you do if you do in a research company, like lab research company. You can, for example, create new molecules. But if you work in CRO, you already work with molecules that were developed, and you test them on patients. And if you test them on patients, there needs to be a lot of laws and documentation to be followed. So the truth is that clinical trials are always connected with a lot of papers and many new programs, softwares, and you need to learn how to work in various softwares to enter the data and to actually extract the data from. And you work with Excel files and you look at the data of patients. The roles that I first started in were CRA, which is clinical research associate, and medical monitor. To become a medical monitor just after school, it's very, very rare. Because many medical monitors, or also called safety physicians, those are doctors that are usually with specialization. They are usually very experienced, both with clinical experience, research experience, but also with experience from pharma. But as this was a small CRO, I was happy to get the chance, to get the opportunity to actually explore this role. Medical monitor, what medical monitor does is that he looks at the patient data. He does not look at the patient, he does not see patients, but he sees the data that are entered by the hospitals to the system. And he looks how the patients actually evolve, if they're on the medication, if they have any adverse events, if there's something that should be taken care of. For example, if some follow-up examination should be done. He also looks at the screening data of patients, and he decides if patients should be included in the study if it's not a danger to them. So it's a huge responsibility, because if there is a clinical trial, then of course the patient come to a hospital and see the doctor who's the investigator in the study. But the final responsibility always lies on the pharmaceutical company. The pharmaceutical company is responsible for the well-being of patients in the clinical trial. And that's what medical monitor for the pharmaceutical company does. He ensures that the patients in the study are as safe as possible and as well and taken care of the best way as they can. The role that I actually applied for was CRA, Clinical Research Associate, also called monitor, not medical monitor, just monitor. And it means that you go to the centers, to hospitals, and you check the documentation at the hospitals. You check that the hospital is correct with entering the data, that there's everything according to the protocol. You check that the hospital does the clinical trial the way it should be done. And the CRA also checks that the patients that are reported by the hospital are actually real patients, because it's already happened in the past that there were some hospitals that actually created patients that were not real, and because they got the money from that, but the data were just fabulated. They just created them. And the patients were not real. So that's what CRA does. He ensures that what's entered into the system by the hospitals actually is the reality. He also trains the hospitals. He tells them how to do the clinical trial. So it's a lot of cooperative work. I think it's quite exciting at the beginning of the trial, because you need to really train the hospitals, train the staff, train the team, and cooperate with them, coordinate everything, coordinate the labs that are being sent across the world. But still, it's also a lot of just paperwork, because these clinical trials positions, they are a lot about paperwork and being at the computer. It's not like you don't talk to real patients. You talk to doctors, you talk to nurses, and you talk to your team, but not to patients. But still, it's very exciting, and it's good to get a chance to see how the clinical trials work. As I was in the small CRO, I also had a chance to see into other departments at the CRO. So I saw what pharmacovigilance department did, regulatory. So I did some medical writing jobs, all these things that are part of clinical trials, but you've never heard of if you just studied medicine, because, why would anyone tell you what all needs to be done in the clinical trial? So that's what I really enjoyed about it. The truth was that when I got my offer to move into my current position, it was a bit unexpected. I was not looking for it actively. But it was a great opportunity, because I did my research in diabetology. I had some publications, then I had the experience in clinical trials world, and I had the addiction counseling experience. I was able to combine these experiences and just offer to put them on my CV and share the experience and have something to offer in the big pharmaceutical company. It was a great opportunity that I got. It came quite unexpectedly. It was not something that could be I think repeated, or I could just advise, okay, this is the way how you will get a job in pharma company. The truth is that I had just on my LinkedIn, I had a few recruiters, and one of the recruiters contacted me and he said, okay, I looked at your profile and I believe that this position could suit you. And when I heard it, I was like, okay, sounds really interesting. But I'm still not sure if I want to change my current position. But then I went for interviews and I found out into detail what the position is actually about, and I got really excited. So what my career in medical affairs is called medical science liaison, which is something that's a bit mouthful, but it's one of the most common medical careers in medical affairs. Medical science liaisons are often medical doctors or pharmacists, and it's a position in medical affairs of the pharmaceutical company. That means that it's not a sales position. It's a position that brings the medical or the scientific information, the knowledge. Medical science liaisons are field-based, which means that you go see other doctors, you share some new data with them, you discuss with them new articles, you ask about their opinion, you collect their insights on the new data. You also visit congresses, conferences, so that you are up to date with anything new. There's also one position that sometimes you will see written in the medical affairs fields, and that's medical advisor. And why I wrote it on one slide is because some companies they offer us something in between, and the position is called medical advisor or a medical science liaison / medical advisor. But the truth is that if you are in a bigger company, in a big pharmaceutical company, you will usually find both medical science liaisons that go to see doctors. They are in the field, they have their region, and medical advisors. And medical advisors do more office work. They are responsible for the information that goes out from the company. They're responsible for everything being medically correct, and they are responsible for the salespeople to be trained well. When I started my current company, I actually started as medical science liaison, but just recently I got promoted to medical advisor. So I have a chance to actually share both sides of the story with you and the differences between these positions. Although if you're a medical advisor in some company, you might have more time in the field with the doctors, and yeah, and it depends on the company, and it's always good just to check with the company what the position is about. What other things medical science liaison and medical advisors do, and that's the same, is being a lot at the computer and for example answering emails or sending new articles to doctors, because of course most of the communication today is not only face to face but screen to screen, or you write something by email. If you're a medical science liaison, when I started, most of the time I was in the field. I would say 4 days out of 5 I would be out of the field, which means I would go for meetings with doctor. I would go to conferences. I would have some small lectures, seminars. 1 day a week I would have kind of a office day where I would work at computer, I would answer emails, I would send in new articles, I would prepare slides for my upcoming lectures and stuff like that. If you're a medical advisor, this is a bit different. If you have 1 day in the field a week, you're lucky. Most of the time you really need to be at office so that you're available, you train the people, you have internal meetings, you create the strategy, the medical strategy, you decide what's the new information that should be communicated. Apart from those, you always need to, at both positions, you always need to be up to date with all the new data. So what I, for example, do at my work, every day I check what's new at the PubMed, or I have some alerts for new articles that are related to my molecule. And you always need to learn you always need to learn what's new so that you can actually share it with doctors. And of course, if every day you work with doctors that are highly active in their field, they do their own research as well, you need to expect that these doctors will also be up to date with all the info. So if you want to actually bring them something new, some new information, or you want to discuss with them and share your opinion, ask about their opinion, you always need to be on the same level. So that means you need to be up to date with all the advances, because otherwise the conversation would not work. What's also a big part of the job are local seminars or some other local events, which means that you go to hospitals and you have short seminars or longer seminars So you can't be afraid to speak in front of the people, because at one of the departments that there might be about 30 people. So you need to enjoy this, because it's a big part of the work. If you don't enjoy it, it's not really, it might not be a good fit to be a medical science liaison, because it would make you unhappy to go every week for a seminar, and if you had to speak in front of all the people like this. But also what I actually really enjoy is a lot of time at the conferences, because it's a place you go to some other city. Usually it's overnight, and you really have time to absorb all the new information, hear what other doctors think, because they present their opinions on their opinion on the data, and you have a lot of opportunity to discuss the science with attending doctors there. What does my week look like? I actually like that my weeks are not the same, never the same, and every day looks very different. It's part of the job that you always need to be flexible. You need to be prepared that your schedule will just completely change from one day to another. You need to move the meetings, you need to completely rearrange something. And I tried to just create something that would look like one of my weeks. And the truth is that one day I might have just office day and be at internal meetings and do some emails. Almost every day I spend some time with approval of materials. For example, if there is material that's intended for patients, or there's material for doctors, I as a medical advisor need to approve that. The next day, I might train new sales teams, representatives. I might approve some slide kits, or discuss with a doctor or speaker who will speak at one of the symposiums the structure of his lecture. We might discuss if this topic is good or another topic might be better. Usually in the week, I also have, for example, some work lunch or work dinner with doctors, because again, it's time where they can actually make the time to discuss the data with you. But sometimes the meetings are only very short, that you just come to the office of the doctor and he has like 5 or 10 minutes, and you just quickly discuss everything that's important. Some other days you might have morning seminar at work, or you might do just some administrative work, and other days are just filled with conferences and congresses. So you see that the days can be very variable. Every week can be totally different. Some weeks can be a bit slower. Some weeks can be totally busy, that you don't know what to do first. But the truth is that the days are very, very flexible. It's mostly up to you how you rearrange things. So, for example, if one day is longer, you need to wake up very early for a morning seminar, and then in the evening you have some work lunch, a work dinner. You can the next day sleep longer, make some free time during the day, and I don't know, sort out anything that you need. So it's very, very flexible, and the flexibility is also something that I enjoy. That I have a chance to make the schedule the way I wish to, and actually devote my time to things that I feel are important. Also in the work, that you kind of decide which way to go, if you will focus more on this topic, or you will focus more on these doctors, that you need to visit these doctors because it's important because of this congress and stuff like that. It's very, I think the autonomy is something that that's not so much in the clinical medicine. The medical affairs, which is the whole department that I talk about now, which the medical affairs is the department where you will find medical science liaisons, medical advisors. It's the main department in the pharmaceutical company that and the only department that actually is responsible for the medical information that goes out, and they're the point where you go to if you want to check that something is correct, if, for example, someone wants to explain into a bit more detail something medical. I think these departments are very, very important, and they are an important part of the whole company. They cooperate tightly with sales team, which means the medical sales representatives. They cooperate very tightly with marketing team, PR team, and some other teams as well. If you're in medical affairs, part of the medical affairs is also pharmacovigilance, which means reporting adverse events, or there's also part of this department, regulatory, all these parts. And if you work in pharmaceutical company and you're a medical science liaison or medical advisor, you have a chance to cooperate with all these teams. So it's very, there's cross-team cooperation every day. However, if you decide to go with the way of the alternative career, it also depends on the size of the pharma company or on the product portfolio and therapeutic area you work with. Where I work now is a very big pharmaceutical company with a great product portfolio in diabetology, which is also a field that's quite advancing now, so it's very exciting. But if you work in a small pharma company on, for example, rare diseases, the work might be a bit different. It always depends on the environment, on the company, if it's original product or if it's generics. It's very difficult to break into the first role. I found it best to go through the way of starting at the CRO as a clinical research associate, and it's something that many doctors or pharmaceutists do if they want to go to the pharmaceutical company. They either start as clinical research associate, which means that they start in clinical research company, or they start in a sales department as a medical sales representative. I have many colleagues that are now medical advisors or medical science liaisons, and they started as sales representatives in the past, because it's very difficult to just, jump ahead and start as medical science liaison just after school. The way is usually that if you want and you want to progress in your career, you can go from medical science liaison to medical advisor. I know many doctors who just stay medical science liaisons because they don't want to. They enjoy the field work, being more time of the week with doctors than the office work. If you're a medical advisor, which I am now, you spend less time in the field, but more time in the office. However, it also comes with more responsibility, and you have a chance to affect more the national strategy that's communicated. If you're a medical science liaison, you kind of work more in the regions and on the regional strategy. If you work as a medical science liaison or medical advisor, there are some other possibilities where to move after that, but it's usually after, let's say, 10 or even more years of experience. You can become MSL lead, which means that you'd be a manager of medical science liaison. There's also an option to become a medical manager again after I'd say more than 10 or 15 years. It's usually after 20 years of experience in the pharmaceutical company, you can become a medical manager, which means that you manage the whole medical affairs department. You need to have really a lot of experience, usually from various teams, not just as a medical science liaison, but also from manager positions or from sales department or from some other department, so that you can as a medical manager cooperate with these parts of the company. Or there's always especially in the big companies, there's always an option of a career abroad. which is also very very good opportunity to advance your career. That usually there are some openings outside of the city where you started. The salaries are very competitive. I think it reflects the let's say sometimes the long hours and the flexibility that's expected of you, and the field work. Again, that's part of the job. The salaries can be found. There's usually once a year there's this questionnaire, and the results come out of it. Some of the recruiting companies do that, and you can find a salary, or at least an average of the salary for these positions, both in pharmaceutical companies or in some other companies. So when you start a job in alternative careers, it's always good to check these results, and check these results of the questionnaires, and to know what salary to expect. I also created, because I found that when I started my career, I was kind of lost about not knowing what are the options. So I created a website in InCheck for my Czech colleagues who actually are unsure what options are there. So I have this small blog on purchase medicine, and I just write there, the main points about alternative careers and what to expect, what to be careful about. And I hope that this will be a community for people who maybe are considering alternative career but want to find out more options or more information, so that they really can make the informed decision. Or if they're experienced in alternative career, they can share their experience with other colleagues and help them decide. Okay, so that's my pathway, my career pathway. You can ask any questions. Feel free to ask. If there's a question afterwards, you can always just contact me through LinkedIn and ask me there.
I have a question. Earlier on, you went through your week as a in your position, and there was some abbreviations that I didn't.
Yeah, that's something that's very typical for pharma companies.
Yeah.
You will find there are a lot of abbreviations. KOL means key opinion leader, which is the doctor that's important in the field, that will share his experience and his opinion with you. That's why key opinion leader. Then MSR, that's medical sales representative.
Medical sales representative. All right. And these KOLs, are they mostly like senior doctors in a department or something like that?
Mostly, though it depends on the field. There are fields that that don't have that many that experienced doctors. Or for example, if it's a rare, if you've got a product for rare disease, it might happen that there are only two clinics, for example, in the Czech Republic that actually deal with this rare disease. So you might cooperate with some doctors that are not the head of hospitals, but they also work in regions. It always depends on the decision of your managers. What's the target? What's the best target? So when I worked as medical science liaison, the doctors that I worked with or that I visited, they were various doctors from regions. Sometimes they had their own office, outpatient clinic. Some doctors were head of departments, but some of them were just new emerging doctors. Someone very that you see the potential in. For example, they are very active in their field, though they don't have the PhD yet, but they are working on it. It always depends. It depends on the decision and on the decision of your manager and of you as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Are there any other questions about them? No. All right. I have actually have another one as well. You said you work with molecules, that you work with specific molecules. So is it like in your job, are you like assigned, let's say, a certain drug or a certain molecule of sorts, and then you just work with like that certain molecule, not rather than you're not working with the entire disease, you know what I mean, but just the certain drug. Is it like that?
Yeah. Yeah, you're mostly right. If you work in sales, you always work just with the product. You can have one product, two products, it depends, but you work with the product, with the brand. But if you work in medical affairs, you not only work with the molecule, that's the product, but you also work with the disease, because part of your work is also communication to patients. So you need to raise the awareness of the disease. So even though my focus is on the molecule, and of course I know all the new data that are about the molecule, I also know what's happening in the field, in the whole field of diabetology. And I need to know quite a lot about the disease, so that I can create materials that will, for example, increase the awareness of patients about the disease and the comorbidities and complications.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it's quite a broad like field, and and on typical, like, so you said it's quite flexible as well, your job. So is this flexibility and the autonomy due to the fact that you can just schedule your day? So you have some days that you can have shorter and like some days which are longer? Is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's the flexibility lies that you, for example, you organize a seminar, and it's up to you when the seminar will be. Of course, you arrange the date with the doctors or with the attendant, the other attendees, but otherwise it's always up to you how you will rearrange it in the schedule. So for example, if you know that someday you will have morning seminar somewhere, then for example in Plzeň, then you will arrange some meetings in Plzeň, and you know that you will finish the meetings at 2 p.m. and you just say, okay, that's it, because I will wake up really early. So that day, that's the end of the day, and you won't schedule anything for the rest of the day. It's always up to you how you rearrange it.
All right, fair. So there's quite a bit of flexibility in terms of like how you plan your day, and there isn't particularly like, okay, I sign in at this point and I sign out of my day at this point. Okay.
No, actually, if you actually work as a medical science liaison, you're field-based, so there's no office where you can just click that you came, you know. But of course, if you did not do anything, or if you did not work the required number of hours, it would be seen on the, for example, on the work that you produce. For example, what medical science liaisons give to the firm are the insights from doctors. They collect the information, they collect the opinions, and if you did not work that many hours, or you were trying to kind of shorten your days, it would be seen on the number of opinions or insights that you collect.
Fair. All right, I think that's all the questions. We have a question from Louisa. Do you have any advice on how to get more familiar with laboratory biochemical genetics during my studies in Czech Republic? For example, extracurricular courses in Charles University, activities offered by departments or organizations I can search about.
Not really. No, I don't have any experience with lab work as such, because the research that I always did was either with patients or it was just theoretical. So not with the lab genetics, nothing specific, but what actually was, or what always worked for me was just ask, don't be afraid to, if you just Google some companies, don't be afraid to just contact them straight ahead, just write something about you, what's your motivation. And my experience is that they are, if they see that someone is keen, they are very willing to find a way to at least offer you some internship or some I don't know, some introduction to their work.
We have another question by Ayla. Do you have any advice on how to get started if you want to work for CROs, or what entry position to apply for without any prior research experience and a few years of clinical experience?
I'd say that's the position that I started with. I started in the CRO knowing that I don't have any experience, and it's best to start at the CRA position, clinical research associate or monitor. But you need to start in a small CRO, the local CRO. Usually in the Czech Republic, there are few, just 2 or 3 Czech CROs that actually offer positions that are for inexperienced CRAs. Otherwise, if you'd want to start a big CRO, you don't really have a chance if you're not experienced, because the positions that they are opening are usually for 2 or 3 years experienced CRAs, not medical doctors. If you're a medical doctor, it does not count as an experience. And the same thing is if you have clinical experience and you don't have specialty, most of the time you won't get the position in CRO as a medical monitor or medical advisor. You usually need to have specialty and be really experienced, have at least like 5 or 7 years of experience in the field. But start with small companies. It's always best for the beginnings.
Thank you. Any other questions by people? No. So I think, yeah, that was really lovely. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Jana.
Thank you for inviting me.
It was such a great presentation, and it taught us a lot about, the different pathways that we can take into alternative careers. And yeah, we'll have this video up on YouTube as well, so people can view it from their home at any time. And yeah, thank you for all of your time, and thank you for attending, everyone. That would be all for today. So yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye, everyone.
Bye.